I went back to school in my 30s and I want to tell you about how it's going. My name is Samantha, and if you don't know, I've been trying to start and restart this YouTube channel, but I'm actually doing it, and I really wanted to do this video to show people that it is possible to start over in your 30s or just completely change your life path and do what you want to do. Obviously there's some privilege that I have that allows me an easier maybe time doing that, but there are still a lot of obstacles that I have to deal with. I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, and yeah, so let's get into it. So I'll just give you a brief background of sort of my journey since I graduated high school. So I graduated high school back in 2007 and I went straight into university. At the time I thought this was the thing you were supposed to do, but I didn't realize that I have ADHD. I was undiagnosed at the time. So you can imagine how well that went, and a lot of people who have ADHD will be very familiar with this issue. School is hard. So I went for 1 year, I took some philosophy courses, some journalism courses, thought I was going to do journalism. After a year, I transferred to a college and I did like an arts foundation program, kind of focusing in photography. Again, thought I was going to do photography or photojournalism, and then just realized school wasn't for me. Finished that first year, which was hard. Like, I wanted to quit so many times, but I pushed through and finished the first year. So then I have 2 years of post-secondary school under my belt and really nothing to show for it. I had applied and been accepted to another college and just decided that school wasn't for me. So I moved to Toronto, Ontario, and lived there on and off for about 10 years. In that period of time, I really got into the tech industry. So I worked at a few different tech startups. I worked for a marketing agency. I developed a lot of useful skills in that field and eventually ended up working for Shopify, which I've talked about before in another video, and ended up teaching myself web development while I was at Shopify. They sent me through some boot camps, was working there as a web developer for a while, until just the pressure of working that job in a fast-paced sort of startup tech field got to me. And still not being diagnosed at this time with ADHD, I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, was dealing with chronic pain, was dealing with a lot of stressors, a breakup, blah blah blah, and ended up going on stress leave and not returning to Shopify. I then moved back to my hometown-ish, not where I was born, but where my family lives currently and sort of where I went to high school. Moved back and I thought about going back to school at that point. I had applied and then sort of just let it go to the wayside. Again, still undiagnosed. Met somebody, fell in love, started a family of my own, had a baby. I started a business, a dance studio, and that was great until COVID happened and we had to shut down, and then financially couldn't really recover from that. So I dabbled, I tried a lot of different things. I worked in some admin roles. I tried starting a few other businesses and nothing really stuck. Eventually was diagnosed with ADHD and the world made sense. And then I kind of started to think, you know what, I want to go back to school. And at first I was like, maybe I'll go back to school and do something like creative related to sort of media, what I've done in the past or what I currently do, which I'm still a web designer, and that's my current business that has been more successful, thank goodness. And so I applied to the University of New Brunswick, and I applied to a very specific program, which is it's a degree program, but it's for those who sort of are mature students and want to finish a degree, and they sort of take your life experiences as credits and stuff. And I forget the name of the program, but it did allow me to be accepted into the university and start taking classes. Once I started taking classes though, I took a graphic design class and I took some culture theory classes, and it was the culture theory classes where we discussed sort of like political theory and some like contemporary philosophy, where I realized that that is my passion, that is my calling. And let me tell you that being on medication for ADHD and going back to school is a whole different ballgame. So I'm very appreciative of that. But when I was in this program, I realized that actually I might want to stay in academia, and I might want to go get my master's or even beyond that. And with the program that I had been accepted into, it was not possible to get a master's with that type of degree. So I transferred into the Bachelor of Arts program, which was luckily very easy to do. They welcomed me with open arms, and they took my university credits from a long time ago, which I was also very thankful for. And then I had to decide on a major, and this sort of came as a shock to everybody around me, kind of including me, but I chose political science. And while I could have followed a lot of different paths, I decided to do political science because it felt like the path that was going to allow me to reach my peak impact and expression. And I don't know if a lot of people will understand that, but I don't want to be a politician. And every time I tell somebody, oh, I'm in political science, they're like, oh, I'm gonna see your name on billboards and I'll get to vote for you. No, I don't want to be a politician. I still am interested in media and culture and journalism and philosophy, political theory, and I want to do something like political journalism or writing about politics or research. So that's sort of my thought process behind that, and yeah, I'm just having the best time. But I will tell you what it's like being a mature student. So I am 35, I'm going to be 36 this year, and I have a child. I have a 4-year-old son who's starting kindergarten this year too, and I am also a business owner, so I have a lot of things on the go, and that's probably the most difficult aspect of going back to school as an adult, is you have a lot more responsibilities that you're trying to balance. So, I have to make sure that I prioritize spending time with my child and taking care of him. I have to make sure I'm, running my business in a way that is sustainable, and I have to make sure that I do all my schoolwork and keep up with assignments and, all of the other responsibilities that come with being in your 30s. I thought that I was going to go into university and it was going to be very obvious that I was a mature student. I thought I would have a hard time, making friends or finding people to study with, but that actually hasn't been the case. I feel like I was blessed with good genes, and I fit in very well with the university students there. So I feel very much like I'm part of the culture, and like they accept me, which is really nice. I have the few people that I've managed to, become school friends with are younger than me, but they were shocked to learn that I am 35, and they had no qualms with, studying with me or spending time with me on campus, despite our age difference. So that's been really nice, just feeling sort of like I'm flying under the radar and fitting in with everybody. Some people might not care about that, and I just didn't want it to be something that I had to think about, or like a distraction, or have it interrupt the way that I study and interact with people on campus. So that's been great. I will say a huge benefit of being a mature student is, at least for me, I feel so focused, so gung-ho and eager about every class I take. I just love being on campus. I love studying. I love writing essays. I even love taking exams. I might change my mind in the coming years, but so far I really love it. I love being in lectures. I sit at the front. I am engaged. I ask questions. I'm not shy about speaking in class. I don't care about looking stupid. I think that is the biggest thing that holds students back, is they don't ask questions or engage in classes because they're shy and they're afraid of looking silly. And I don't have that at all. Maybe that's partly ADHD, and I'm just always wanting to be a part of the conversation, and I'm a talker, but I think partly it is from the maturity of like having been in the workforce and having sort of grown, had a lot more time to grow and experience and live my life compared to a lot of the people who I'm in class with. So that's been a huge advantage. And some of you might be wondering, like, how do I afford school? How do I afford to go to university right now? And I live in Canada, we have student loans, we have student grants, so I have been lucky for a few reasons. One, I went through the process of getting official documentation for my ADHD and my fibro, and with the university and with the Canadian government for student financing, they recognize that as a disability, and I've been able to get more grants because of that. And also I've been able to get a lot of accommodations at the university to help me navigate studies with ADHD and chronic pain. So that's been just a lifesaver. For example, I did get a grant through the government to get this iPad, which I use for school, to get noise canceling headphones, which I use for everything, and yeah, it's been really helpful. And then the grants and the loans that I get from the Canadian government contribute to, like, they cover my tuition, they cover my living expenses. And then in the summers, my plan is, so far it's been working, is to focus on my web design business, take clients on just for the summer, give them the expectation that, like, I only take clients on in the summer, and then during the school year, so September to April, I do not take on new projects. I will finish existing projects and support clients through, you know, whatever they need, but no new projects and no big work. So I'm aiming to finish all my projects by the end of summer. And the money that I get through the summer from those clients helps to fund, you know, my bills for the summer and the school year as well. I've been trying really hard to stick to a budget. I have like a budget spreadsheet, which I can share in another video at some point if anyone's interested. But yeah, I am just absolutely having the best time in school, in lectures, and this past year I did only take 4 courses over the year to kind of ease myself in, and this coming year I am taking 4 courses per semester, and hopefully I can keep building on that, maybe take a summer course here and there. I would really love to finish my undergrad and graduate, you know, within the next 3 years. That's the goal. So I don't want to, while I want to prioritize, you know, my life and balancing my responsibilities and taking my time, I also want to finish my degree in a reasonable amount of time and be able to, you know, apply for grad school, etc. So that is my story time about going back to school and sort of how it feels as a mature student. If anybody has any questions about applying for university as a mature student, or, you know, managing your responsibilities, I would love to chat and, you know, or make another video. So leave your comments or questions if that's interested, and subscribe because I will be releasing more videos. And my goal is to make this channel, you know, sort of lifestyle student, maybe throw some like topics like philosophy or political science in there, and you know, being a mom, maybe do some vlogging. So whatever you want to see, I am excited to create it, and I'm excited that you're here. So thank you for watching, and have a great day.